Okay, so this is it. This is the crazy part. Stand by and enjoy. Just like that. That is the moment that I completed the last possible upgradable glyph from Nightmare Dungeons. Every single one's maxed out. And in this video, I'm going to talk about other things I think we could do in Diablo IV to make the endgame better, to make more activities possible, and ways to make the endgame grind more interesting than just Nightmare Dungeons that I've seen plenty of. So let's go. What's going on, guys? So I'm pretty passionate about this topic in Diablo IV. I answer this question a lot, like what is there to do in the endgame after you've done XYZ? Well, this video aims to solve that. As you can see, I've already leveled up every single glyph I can for the season. I've got all my Malignant Hearts, but I'm still grinding because I enjoy this Conjuration Hydra Frozen Orb Sorceress I've been playing. And there will be a link in the description to this build if you're interested. So this build can do Echo of Lilith. It does Nightmare Dungeons. It easily flies through Helltides. And you kind of crawl up on people in PvP and let them absorb a lot of fireball damage from your Hydra. So that's kind of fun. But what I want to talk about in this video is just basically a conversation of things I think we could introduce into Diablo IV as a franchise in the game that would actually be so much better than what we've got now. So going forward, right? Every season, I think, should have a pinnacle boss, an uber boss like Echo of Lilith, that you have to go ahead and kill, and if you do, you get a reward. And so we've already got Uber Lilith. We don't have like Uber Elias. Varshan is basically a cakewalk. But what about this? Every season going forward, an evergreen, like this is an evergreen concept, so it always stays in the game. You have these pinnacle bosses or Uber bosses that you get to go ahead and kill. And every time you do it, for the first time, you get a Uber unique. If you get carried in a party, you don't have access to that. You as a player, me as a person, we got to singularly have to go through this fight by ourselves solo, and if we can kill the boss the first time we kill it, for whatever the engagement is, you get an Uber unique, and you might get the same one back to back. That sucks. That's RNG. It's part of the genre. But this way, that's sort of the carrot on the stick that gets you and me interested to really go ahead and do it. I think most people may not even do this fight, Echo of Lilith, and if you're cheesing it, that's fine. You could still get the Uber unique that way. If you're doing the mechanics, that's cool too. It's whatever you want, but it gives you an activity to do in the end game. And so basically, the underlying principle there, every time you kill an Uber boss, you get an Uber unique. Because they're just like, they're so scarce to get that it's almost like a joke at this point. Like no one's really getting them. I think they should be more readily available, especially considering the fact that you can't trade them. So, Uber unique dead, Uber unique item that you get. And every time after that you kill it, you probably get loot, but you won't be getting that Uber unique again. It's just the first time if you solo it. Another system that exists in the endgame of Diablo IV is the Tree of Whispers that I never really put in the forefront of my activities. It was kind of like a nice to have. I do Nightmare Dungeons. Sometimes they would align with the Nightmare Dungeon that I'd run. I'd get some Tree of Whispers, Grim Favor, and I'd go over there, get some gold, right? That'd be kind of cool. What if we did something a little bit more spicy with this? Keep in mind that in Diablo IV, your account only has 10 character slots. So at the end of Season 1, if you've got like all 5 characters done, and you played one of every character in the Eternal Realm, your whole account's maxed out. What are you going to do for Season 2, right? You got to start deleting stuff. So you're going to be doing that anyway. What if at level 100 in the endgame of Diablo IV, you can go to the Tree of Whispers and delete a character or sacrifice it to the tree. And that character's head that you made is now dangling from this tree, right? But you got this crazy benefit for it that you can use account-wide forever in the form of Magic Find gear that no longer exists in the game. It had Magic Find on Nightmare Dungeons. It doesn't exist anymore. So what I'm suggesting is this. You hit level 100, the side quest opens up at the Tree of Whispers. It goes, hey, yo, you want to go ahead and sacrifice your character to Sanctuary to get some crazy favor going forward forever? You're like, yeah. And so you sacrifice it, and the game gives you a Magic Find helmet with some decent stats. Max life, total armor, right? Let's say Magic Find, 30%, 50%, something, okay? And there's one item for every spot. Helmet, chest, legs, gloves, boots, right? Rings, necklace, that kind of thing. And you can choose what item you get. That way it's not randomly given to you and it's like a duplicate, because that sucks. You just turfed a tier 1, like you just killed a 100 character for that, right? This way, you actually get the benefit of wanting to level a character to 100, get the benefit of sacrificing it instead of just deleting it because you got to make more space for the season coming up. I think that could be kind of interesting. I'm asking a lot for people to delete their characters, but you're going to do it anyway in time. At least this way we get some value for all of our effort that we played. Or here's another concept for the Tree of Whispers. At level 100, another side quest kicks open. It's like, hey, yo, would you like to go ahead and do this increased Grim Favor reward? Because if you do, we're going to give you the ability to unlock uniques every single time. So how does that work? Well, right now you have like 10 Grim Favors you have to complete to go back to the Tree of Whispers to obtain a cache. What I'm suggesting is you say, okay, at level 100, instead of just 10 Grim Favor, you now need like 50 or 100. And when you complete that 100 Grim Favor, you can now get a unique item. but you don't know what it's going to be, and it could contain uber uniques. This way, I'm more incentivized in the end game to go, okay, I've done a bunch of Nightmare dungeons. Now I'll do random dungeons for the Tree of Whispers because I know I'm going to get a unique there. Plus, I'm going to get items from the Nightmare dungeons, the regular dungeons that I run, depending on how they align. At least this way, the Tree of Whispers is now something I want to engage with in the end game, and maybe now it's at the forefront of the activities I want to do instead of just farming Nightmare dungeons, trying Echo of Lilith, doing some Hell Tides, maybe some PvP, right? Tree of Whispers is now in the circle of content I want to engage with for those reasons in Diablo IV. Just a thought. So when it comes to target farming in Diablo IV, it's not even there, really. Compared to other versions of Diablo in the past, like Diablo II Resurrected here, I would love getting home from work and just hopping on a Hammerden and just trying to kill Diablo, Mephisto, Baal, Andariel, right? Countess, all these guys, gals, just trying to get something to trade, something to use, something that's fun and exciting to hit, like that dopamine rush, right? When you think about what you have available now in the game, it's like the Butcher can drop the mount barding, which is cool. World bosses can drop things for your mount, cosmetics only, really. What if in Diablo 4 going forward, we had the ability to target farm bosses, like new Pinnacle bosses like Echo of Andariel, Echo of Elias, Echo of Duriel, these uber versions, but they also had a subset of uniques that only those bosses drop. This way, if you're like me, and you don't want to do a bunch of Nightmare dungeons or any of the other events I've listed in this video, maybe we could hop in there and just slap that boss around a little bit and see if you finally get that unique. Like, what if, as an ode to like the past, like you fight Echo of Andariel and she'll always drop, or has a chance to drop, jewelry more often than not. And maybe in that range of jewelry, you've got things like Stone of Jordan, Menald Heel Ring, Ravenfrost, right? Things like that that you could still apply to Diablo 4 now. And maybe fighting Duriel, like he always drops scrolls, right, in Diablo 2. So to sort of speak to that, he drops Scrolls of Amnesia, or maybe even other jewelry or weapons, things like that. Elias, who knows what Elias drops, right? But get creative with it. This is the heart and soul of the game, is fighting Diablo, this guy right here. And we got to get back to doing that, because killing this guy is an amazing feeling. For players doing it the first time, or me and you who love doing it as well. Clap this guy, it's a ton of fun. Let's get some specific loot for doing it, or the opportunity to do so. Something else that I keep thinking about when I'm playing Diablo 4 in the endgame is how players interact in the endgame. The social layer, I think, is basically very, very abysmal. There's not a lot there, and I hope that they're working on something for clans or looking for group tools, things like that, to bring us together in this MMORPG. So when I go into a game, like I stream with people all the time, and I like to fill up the party, 4 players, and off we go, right? I run tier 100 dungeons for folks. I think it'd be cool if we looked at the way that we are all engaging with each other in those dungeons and those activities. And so let me just sort of be more clear with where I'm getting at. I think it'd be cool if we could introduce some sets of items, maybe they're uniques, maybe they're set items, I'm not even sure, but some sets of items that reward me for playing close to you so we can actually do more difficult content together. And I'm thinking about, like, imagine if there was a unique in the game called Pain, okay? And Pain was like a weapon, and it had like, basically, it was a solid weapon that had a higher crit chance base than any other weapon in the game. So that's why you might want to use Pain, because it's pretty good. And then there's another one called Suffering. And Suffering, as a base unique, was like some sort of item. Maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's a helmet or something, who knows? And it gives you like more damage over time. But what happens if you and I come together in the same dungeon with Pain and Suffering? And we're playing in the same area. Like, not like you go in your lane, I go in mine, but we're in the same area and we're under-leveled, but we're playing together, trying to get after this more difficult content. Pain and Suffering, now the more crit damage that, like, let's say the crit damage was like 100% on Pain, okay? And Suffering says any damage over time you have is increased by whatever X% multiplicative. Okay. As we get together, Pain and Suffering now becomes amplified. And everything in that dungeon is going to feel the effects of Pain and Suffering, right? Or then we go into like a 4 horseman kind of approach with 4 players. Famine, Death, War, Pestilence, that kind of thing, right? When you bring all these unique powers together, Cloak and Dagger, things like that, whatever you can think of, right? I think it'd be cool, and would want me to play with you so I could feel the more increased power of those items and uniques or set items that way. That sounds cool. Like, we basically, when it comes to itemization, we need more stuff. I know the game is just sort of, it's just kind of out right now, and we're all looking for more. But I think more isn't just enough. More creative things to enjoy in the game makes the end game better. Like, I'm on this sorceress. It'd be kind of cool. I'd keep farming for something called Pain and Suffering so I could maybe play with other people and see how those look with a new visual layer, things like that. Sound effects. Who knows, right? Who knows? Maybe you feel differently. Let me know in the comments below, but that sounds sick to me. So when I'm thinking about itemization in Diablo 4 and the future of what the game might have for me, I want more unique stuff than like every third fireball you casts like 2 more. Instead of that, I want like heat-seeking fireballs, or like Hitting the same target with the fireball twice casts meteor on his location, right? In addition to the fireball going out. Stuff like that. Or what about something like this? A unique wand in Diablo 4 that says whenever you cast Hydra in the exact same place twice, you form a greater Hydra. So it's good for like bossing, right? Instead of trying to clear out multiple rooms in like a dungeon. So you got this greater Hydra and now it spawns like Incinerate and Hydra and Fireball or Firebolt at the exact same time. And in addition, you always have the Hydra enchantment effect in addition to the enchantment effects you've already got. So you could have like Firebolt, Hydra, Frozen Orb, or whatever you want to have that makes it more fun for you. If the game's supposed to be built in such a way that you can customize your own build and have fun with it the way you want, that's what I'm talking about. More creative execution that way. Or what about like a barb unique for like the chest slot or something? I don't know. That says whenever you're in Berserk, or like Wrath of the Berserkers enabled, right? You now have multiple stages of Wrath of the Berserkers. So you go on like this rampage effect, like Path of Exile or something like that. So if you kill 50 monsters in like close succession, Berserk becomes Berserk rank 2, right? And rank 3, rank 4, up to like level 5. And you see your guy getting thicker, huger, more pissed off, right? And he's got like more visual to him, different sound, like, oh, massive, right? Everything. Who knows? Get creative with that barb, wrathful barb, or, Berserk barb could be like. That sounds kind of sick. Necromancer. What if the Necromancer could like walk through, I don't know, bone prison and like actually get some of the bones on him as armor or something so he's even more tanky, or makes him faster by like teleporting to certain like corpses in the dungeon or in the open world, things like that. Just ride a frickin' golem. I don't know, don't get too crazy with it. It's Diablo, right? Try to stay on theme and not too silly, but just sexy enough that it's kind of like, I want to go for that. Be creative with the execution. I tried to think about rogue, but they're so disgusting. It's like, what do you do with a rogue? Like give him flicker strike so he can like teleport strike concealed the whole time? I'm not even sure. And druids are doing just fine. I'm just kidding, but get creative with it. Do stuff like that. I'd love to see more creative uniques that way instead of just throttling a percentage. Just a thought. Something else that I think is lacking extremely in Diablo 4 is the inability to craft gear. I think that it's extremely rewarding as a player to be able to find an item that is like white, like a white item level 725, like best you can get in the game. Cool. We start there and it has just a base. And then we go to an NPC in the game and we craft by using materials we have to scavenge in the world, salvage, get together, and we turn that into a blue item. Then we take that blue item, modify it again, make it rare. Then we take that rare, modify it again, make it legendary with the aspect that we want. If we had a crafting system in Diablo 4, that'd be so sick because we could then implement like increased ranges, more specialized player power choices for me and you so that it feels like unique to the class or character we're enjoying. So imagine like there's a limit on cooldown reduction, of course, but what happens if I like using an artillery shrine and I want that duration to be up by 50%? What if? Can't do that really right now, but it'd be nice if the crafting in Diablo 4 was such that I could do stuff like that. As a slight example, right? Or something maybe you enjoy. You want to have more core damage on all your attacks. You want to have more poison damage on all your stuff. Who knows? But crafting doesn't really exist at all. And I think that would make the search for white or magic blue items all that much better and give them purpose, right? And then if you break down a white or magical item, you know there's a bit of a penalty there to you, like, because you could have used that for like a really crazy base for an item down the road. Like, we need to have something like that in Diablo 4 in addition to everything else we've already talked about, because I think that's going to make it so much better going forward. What do you think? Something I think we're really missing the mark on here is Hell Tides. They're a very cool system that exists at the end of the game, but because the game's changing to really force us into Nightmare Dungeons with increased density, increased experience rewards, better loot at the end, I don't find myself really wanting to do Hell Tides, but maybe I would if this was the case. Imagine if Hell Tides was something like this, okay? Hell Tide dungeons could now exist. To get into a Helltide dungeon, you got to have at least 150 aberrant cinders. You go visit this area of the Helltide, you engage with it, and boom, we're inside of a Helltide dungeon. When you get in there, all the monsters are minimum level 150. Remember that in like a tier 100, they're all 154. So they're all level 150, and that's how it starts. As you navigate through that difficult dungeon, the items are dropping their minimum level 810 because you want to get rewarded for your efforts, right? And you really don't need stuff that's like 688, 725. Like, you want some nicely rolled stuff, good DPS weapons, things like that. Guaranteeing you to get those items would be a Helltide dungeon. In addition, you go into a Helltide dungeon, you now have a subset of uniques or legendary powers that only exist because you empowered the Helltide dungeon to get in there to get that, right? So that sounds like something I never want to miss out on, okay? You could have cosmetics tied to this. You could have all kinds of things, additional loot rewards tied to this, additional experience points rewarded if you want to, if you're strong enough, because your class is insane, you're in there at 90 or something, I don't know. So let's say it's 150 aberrant cinders just to get in. You know a hell tide only lasts for an hour, so you're up against it. Let's say you bring in your friends too, right? How do you guys do? It makes everything a little bit more tricky. Who knows? What if you had a staggered or a tiered hell tide dungeon that you run? So 150 cinders to start, or you could toss in like, let's say 1,000 cinders. You put in 1,000 aberrant cinders into this hell tide sacrifice, you open up this Uber version of a hell tide dungeon. At the end, the boss is going to be like Andariel or Duriel or some lesser primeval or some new demonic force that we introduce. And that boss has a subset of uniques that exist. And if you kill it, you got a decent shot. I'm not saying you get one all the time, but a decent shot at getting it. This would make me go like, okay, I'm done with nightmare dungeons for now. That hell tide's coming up in 5 minutes. I gotta go drop a deuce, come back, fill up my coffee, and away we go, because I gotta get the most out of this. Like, I almost never want to miss them. It's an awesome thing to do. Make hell tides that for like the end game. Holy shit, I'm down. Give me mounts that come out of it. Like, right now, I don't even want to go there because nightmare dungeons are so good. But you would bring me into hell tides almost every single time if we had distinct uniques or items I could get out of there that's worth my time. And like, oh man, that'd be so cool. Let's do some of that, please. Something that I really wish would make its way into the Diablo universe is the ability to corrupt items. So this is coming in from a game called Path of Exile from Grinding Gear Games, and corruption's basically like this. You take an item and you use it on an item you have, like a piece of gear. That item will modify that item in some unpredictable way. It could turn it into a unique item. It could improve the roll of something. It could turn it into a magical version. It could turn it into a white version. It could just delete it. You never know, but you take the gamble. If Diablo 4's endgame had that included in it, my God, that just makes it so much more attractive to keep farming for rings. I'd want to know, like, how can I get X amount of amulets per hour? Like, I would use a lot more of my golden trades to try and get those items to try and make this absurdly crazy necklace that only I have because it's so rare. And then, you know, maybe I could trade that. Who knows about trading? That's a whole nother conversation. But the ability to corrupt or augment or unmodifiably, unpredictably change an item is just so crazy. Like, I think that should be in the game. One of the other things I want to speak on is like clan-related things. There's not really a big point to be in a clan other than trying to find people to play with and make things happen together. Like, what if clans gave you gold for completing clan-related activities every week? They gave you cosmetic benefits because you and your pals got together and overtook this demonic activity. That'd be kind of cool. What about getting like mount armors, barding, or like things like that? Maybe uniques only that exist to clan members, so that would encourage players who aren't in a clan that play solo to come clan up and like play together with other folks. It's not difficult when you sit down and think about what that clan system could be doing for people in the end game. And right now it's just a group of us getting together and trying to make things happen. And I love that we have clans, but I want them to be doing something more than just being there, right? Take that one tool you have and make it efficient, make it fun to be a part of. Yeah. Clan versus clan activities. Who knows? Make an internal tournament system inside Diablo 4. It's an MMO, right? Where people can come in, sit on a bench and watch the fight go down, like get a camera that shows us the combat and stuff. So clan A versus clan B every week, you get to get in there like, oh man, and you could gamble some gold, gamble on fights from different clans, right? Who knows? No fixing. Don't fix those fights, right? Make it fun, make it interesting. So it's anonymous voting. Who knows? I don't know. Get in there, have a good time. Make it cool, dudes. We have the platform. Let's do something special with the game. There's so much more to talk about when it comes to like you playing the game of Diablo 4 in the end game. There's several walls that you face. One of those things is talking about legendary aspects, and I think the idea going forward should be this. I don't know. I'm down for this one, but instead of wasting your inventory on holding all of these ancestral legendaries, like perfectly rolled ones that you break down at the occultist, I think you have the Codex of Power system that's already in the game. Every time you find a legendary in the game and you break it down at the occultist, it goes into your codex, but it replaces the percentage roll. So like, let's say the base roll is like 20% of an effect. You run 20% faster because you completed a dungeon, you got the codex, cool. But then you find like, you know, we'll call it the fleeting aspect. So you're running faster and it rolls from 20 to 40%. If you find a 40%, that goes, and you find a 40%, you go to the occultist and you break it down, that goes into your codex. And now every time you use that, it's 40% forever. Like, it's just that way. That way, me and you want to be like completionists, and we can go ahead and sacrifice all this jazz. It goes into our codex, and we apply it however we want forever. And we have all that item slot, all that item space opened up for every character that we got. That's a pretty solid way, in my opinion, to handle the codex. This way, you don't got to worry about taking up all that inventory space. It's always available for you in like any format that you're in. I don't know. I think that just sounds great, and it makes me want to go ahead and get them and get a better roll version because I'm always going to have it in my library, right? And it kind of rewards you, casual players or hardcore players alike. It rewards us, like hardcore players, we want to complete it. We want to get all that done. Casual players, you don't kind of have these tough decisions about, I'm running out of item space. I can't afford to hold on to that, even though I'm not sure if my build wants it or an alt I'm going to make might want it. Now you just get to use it, attach it to your system, and you've got it forever. I think that sounds awesome. I think that's what we should be doing with legendaries. That implementation sounds kind of cool. Also, we're talking about efficiency for a second. The Paragon board, we all kind of know we need a reset button, right? I don't understand why we can't do quick math in the game to go like, here's how much gold it's going to cost to replace every node on your board. Would you like to reset now? Here's how much gold it's going to take. Okay, yes, done. Or every time we kill an Uber boss like Echo of Lilith or whatever, Elias as an example, or the Curator, there's a percentage chance to drop a Scroll of Amnesia. The Scroll of Amnesia was recently added. It resets all your skills and Paragon board. Like, let's say killing the capstone boss for World Tier 2, the Curator, has a, I don't know, less than like ideal percent chance to drop a Scroll of Amnesia because you probably don't need one then. Okay, cool. But Elias has a maybe you get one, maybe you get a Scroll of Amnesia. You kill Echo of Lilith, boom, you get Scroll of Amnesia all day long, right? That sounds nice to me. You kill any other Pinnacle boss that we create in the future, like Varshan, whatever, boom, you're getting a Scroll of Amnesia. That way players can like save some gold on rerolls because they're quite expensive, that kind of thing. Just a thought. Like, we're just putting things out there that maybe makes it more enjoyable in the end game, and I think a big struggle bus for many people is having to click every single node. Like, that gets taxing. People don't want to do it from the feedback I'm hearing. So a reset button would be good, or giving us more opportunities to get that Scroll of Amnesia. That sounds like something I'd be down for as well. Let's do that. There's just so much to talk about potentially for the end game of Diablo 4 that this video could have been 10 years long, really. If you're interested and you want to chit chat about it while I'm live, it's Barricade TTV over on Twitch. So come on in. I'm always engaging with the chat, always engaging with you guys, the community members. I'd love to hear what you think in the comments below. Try to keep it civil, or not. It's up to you, right? I hope this video gave you something to think about. I'm looking forward to what they come up with for this game because, like I just said, man, there's so much opportunity. I can't wait to see what they think they want to do. That'd be awesome. And can we get an SOJ in the game? That'd be okay. Much love to you guys, Audios. Thanks for checking out the video. Hopefully this resonates with you, but honestly, I still enjoy the game. I enjoy Diablo 4. I just want it to be more, and I'm willing to wait to get it done right. Less bugs, tighter development, solid timeline of execution, clear vision of what makes the game fun. This is a Diablo game. We definitely need more itemization. We need inventory space to be handled better. We need a search feature on that inventory. Again, this could go on for 10 years, but I got to wrap it up. Much love to you guys for listening to this, and hopefully I see you on the next one.